Leadership development at the top of the house, at the top of enterprises today, is changing tremendously. And it's no surprise because the world and the digital world in particular and all the new competitive forces and challenges are creating the need for a new type of leadership. Now, most people think about this and say, well, what we need is more enterprise leadership. Easy to say, hard to do. In fact, as much as people endorse the concept of enterprise leadership, there's just one problem. And that problem is we haven't defined precisely what the heck is enterprise leadership. Now, we've been fortunate over the last 25, 30 years to be in a laboratory for enterprise leadership, to be studying leaders in a very comprehensive and in-depth way through programs like our Chief Executive Institute and Executive to Leader Institute, and to be fortunate enough to have the biggest database in the world on executive assessment, now with more than 7 million leaders in the database. So as a result of this, we've been in a great position to see what the patterns are for enterprise leadership. Now, the only pattern prior to the research we're doing now that was clearly seen is the concept in enterprise leadership of thinking across the enterprise, being strategic, but not just strategic in our functional silo or our division or our geographic area of responsibility, but thinking across the entire enterprise. And not just thinking across, synthesizing across to identify the new and the different. And it's also not only thinking across and synthesizing across the enterprise, but doing the same across the marketplace so that we can do the inside out across the enterprise and the outside in, thinking and synthesizing across the marketplace. So this part of enterprise leadership has been pretty well established. Getting to it is no easy task, but the value and importance of it in enterprise leadership is pretty well established. And that's why strategic thinking and visioning is so important for senior leaders. But there's many other dimensions to this go across muscle that goes beyond just the thinking across. The second one that we've been isolating through our empirical work on leaders is collaborating across. Because it's one thing intellectually to have the capacity to think and synthesize across. It's quite another thing to be able to connect people, collaborate with them, and create the new and the different through collaboration. And increasingly we're finding that all innovation at its core is grand collaboration. It may get attached to some great inventor, but usually that's the end of a hugely collaborative process. So the second dynamic of leading across as an enterprise leader is collaborating across. The third area for enterprise leaders, particularly as we advance in enterprise leadership and we have more scope of responsibility and less proximity, we need ways to touch people even when we're not present through our influence and values and purpose. So the third area is inspiring and serving with purpose across the enterprise. And increasingly, this intersection of core personal purpose and core organizational purpose is like an infinity loop of purpose. And when we have individuals self-inspired and clear on their purpose, and serving that broader organizational purpose with a passion, then we find the intersection of this infinity loop of personal and organizational purpose. So this is the third dimension, inspiring and serving across with purpose. The fourth area is being courageous across the enterprise and across the marketplace. We've done research now on 5 main industry areas to try to isolate, are there any competencies that are common to all these different industry sectors, or are they all unique and situational? And we found that there was just one leadership competency that was critical for enterprise leaders, and that is courage. Courage to be ourselves, courage to challenge and collaborate with others, the courage to be authentic, the courage to do what is not popular, the courage to stand for our strategy, even though it may have difficult short-term consequences, but great long-term value creation. So courage across the enterprise. The last one that is becoming clear is a kind of meta competency across the muscle of enterprise leadership is creating value across the enterprise and across the marketplace. And this is more than financial value. It's contribution value, it's societal value, it's engagement value within our enterprise. It's attraction value that the best talent wants to be and be for our purpose. So creating enduring value within and outside of the enterprise that finds the alignment of purpose, financial performance, and engagement and attraction value. Because in the end, enterprise leadership has to reframe that performance is our only purpose. 2, purpose could elevate and accelerate our value creation for the long run. So in today's world, enterprise leadership is becoming much more important than executive leadership. And unfortunately, we've been preparing people to become great executive leaders, but that lacks the agility to perform and transform in this new world. But helping enterprise leadership go beyond what is by going across the enterprise, by thinking across, collaborating across, inspiring across, being courageous across, and creating value that endures is the real challenge of leadership today.